thought I'd try today is painting outside, because it's a lovely day. The sun is shining, and what better thing to do when the sun is shining than just be out in your garden. If you've got a garden. If you haven't, enjoy mine. And I'm going to use some acrylic paint, and I'll just show you what I'm hoping to achieve today, which is a quick sketch of what I can see around about midday in my garden. Now, it's an interesting thing when the sun goes over the yard arm and the colours change. It's gone midday, so things are going to look a little bit different. For instance, behind this orange blob, which is my canvas, there's a white wall. And half an hour ago that was bright white, but now it's in a bit of shade, so it's changed its tone. But when you're painting en plein air outside, what you're doing is you're looking for light and shade, and just painting in the contrasts. Right, so I've got around about a dozen colours, maybe as many as that, maybe not quite as many, not sure. Bit of Tarlo blue here, Tarlo blue mixed with cobalt quincrazone turquoise and some nickel axo yellow. Right, using acrylic paints. These are what I painted with when I cycled the Camino de Santiago, and they're very forgiving. Painting in acrylics means you can work fast and get the general look of the image you want to achieve quite quickly. I did some experimenting with this before I did my big bike ride. It was like, how are you going to paint when you go on adventure? And I knew I could take the watercolours, because the watercolours are fairly easy and simple to carry, but acrylics give you the option to add some extra textures to what you're painting. I wanted to use oil paints, and if anybody's been watching the last few days, you'll have seen me working in my studio in oil paints. But today, outside, and the reason I'm outside is because it's a lovely day. It says it's 12 degrees. Feels warmer because I'm actually sitting in the sunshine. And when you're sitting in the sunshine, it's a lot nicer. Right, okay. Light and shade, light and shade. Scrub away with the brush. Always put the brush straight away into water, because otherwise it'll go nuts and dry out. You have to work fast when you're outside, a lot faster than when you're inside, and the reason for that is geographic. It's because the earth is constantly moving and the light changes. The light will change dramatically within an hour. In the process of painting this, we will see a change in light. I will see it more than you will because of the framing of this image, which, if you've just tuned in, looks a bit odd for me. I can't read your comments because for some reason the whole thing's upside down. Ah, great, it's lovely, isn't it? I just asked somebody and said, do me a favour, just check and see if I'm actually the right way up. And they said, oh yeah, you are. Oh, okay, all right. In that case, I'm the right way up, so nothing to worry about. Right, what I've got, what I'm painting on is, oh, that's a nice yellow. So I'll mix the yellow with a little bit of chromide of oxide green, which is a sort of a grey green, and if I put a bit of yellow into it, it gives it some spring colour. So I just asked somebody, I just said, do us a favour and let me know if I'm the right way up. So I guess I am. So I'm sorry I can't actually read your comments. The other reason I can't do that is because we're in bright sunshine, and of course there's a bit of a glare. So with that glare, makes it rather hard to see. But I can at least see the painting, and that's probably more important at this stage. So I hope you can see what I'm doing down here. I've got an A3 size surface to paint on. It's acrylic paper. You're going to say, what's that? It means that it's got a bit of texture to it, and it's had something put on it to make it easy for the paint to stick to it. Now, I'm putting a nice bit of shadow into the grass here, and I'll bring it down the front because what's happening is that the light is directly overhead and bringing my shadows straight down. Right. So how do you, if you paint in straight down, it's all rather uniform. So I'm putting the shadows at an angle, as they were when I set up about half an hour ago. I had quite a strong shadow going down to one side. Half an hour later, it's changed. Amazing how it changes so quickly. The Impressionist painters used to talk about painting the moment. This little image, this bit of light that you see right here, right now, they talked about doing that. And I think it's quite a useful thing to think about, how the light and shade changes all the time. So keep your eyes peeled and paint it. There's always inspiration. People ask me, you know, where do you get your inspiration? And the answer is, it's right around you. All you have to do is look for it. I've got a really nice spiky yucca in my garden bed just behind here. Yuccas are exotic. We like the way they hang down and are spiky. They give form and structure to the garden bed, and I like them. Now my son Billy is a gardener, and he'll tell you the Latin name of these plants. He's very good at that. He knows the Latin name, the common name, and the nickname of most plants. He also knows the name, nickname, colour of strip, and the name of the football ground of every club in Britain, because he's been to most of them. He's collecting his 92, with just a few to go, I think. I'm not sure quite how many he's got to go. It's not many, but that will be on hold, won't it, for the rest of this year? Somebody's working outside, aren't they? You can hear it. Putting a bit of light onto this flower bed just down the front here. It's actually a geranium that hasn't flowered. Well, it will do. It's one of those common garden geraniums, not the ones that we put in pots. We're going to have an entertaining little session here, aren't we? If we've got somebody banging away at scaffolding or whatever they're doing nearby. Oops, don't blow over, please don't blow over. Oh, sorry folks, you've fallen over there. Just a minute. Breeze getting up. Oh, there he goes. Calm down again there. Can you see that? You see what I'm doing? Good. Put some dark stuff down the front down here. Had the postman over earlier. Hey, Timmy, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to do a bit of painting today. He said, I'd stay and watch, but I've got a few deliveries to make. And then Harriet, the lady who does the Hermes deliveries, turned up in a fabulous face mask. She said, oh, it's my son's BMX face mask he wears. Crikey, it looks a bit scary. And why are you wearing odd gloves? I approve of odd gloves. She said, oh, one's got a better grip than the other. Funny, isn't it? The things we wear, the things we discover we've got that we need in this current climate. See, the PM has gone and tested positive for the virus half an hour ago. We wish him well, and anybody else who's got the wretched thing. I'm on a Zoom group, and there's been a lot of messages this morning about, hey, let's have a virtual pub tonight in our Zoom group. Well, that's quite an interesting idea. People are coming up with all sorts of inventive new ways of meeting up with friends, aren't they? And I'm enjoying that. I think it's quite a good thing to do. Now, this wall here comes in like this. And wash that brush, it's getting a bit mucky. Right, let's use this one. I'm using a Davies Grey here, which is a bit thin, this colour. Gives me a little bit of greyness to the wall, but it's a bit bland, if I'm honest. I don't really like it very much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of highlight into that wall. This is the wall when the sun's on it and how bright it looks. And then there's a lovely red tile along the top. You don't need many colours with acrylics, because, or with any painting really, you've got to get used to mixing things. Mixing colours gives you more of what you're actually wanting. That's that there. Now here's that dark colour behind. Right. Okay. So I'm blocking in the where I want my light and shade to be in this image. I haven't put in lots of detail, and I don't actually need to put lots of detail in yet. It's the putting in of the detail that builds this image up. That's my water pot. If I was away from here, I'd just use the little pot of water like this and top it up like that. I should leave that there. That'd give you more of an idea, wouldn't it? I've just got the big thing because I can use it, and it's storing the different colours of the different brushes as I'm using them, so that they don't dry out and go rock hard. I'm using the paint straight from the tube, and I'm putting in here the big branches and trunks of the wisteria. I'm rather fortunate that when I moved here I inherited an ancient wisteria which flowers twice a year, in May and in August, and it's lovely. It takes this huge hedge that separates me and my neighbour and turns it purple in those 2 times a year. So I just get this wonderful cascading colour of purple. I think, oh, that's nice. Right, so I'm putting in a little bit of detail here. You can't see it terribly easily on that image because sun's on it directly, and I'm painting backlit, so everything I'm looking at here is backlit, and it gives me where's that colour gone? That's what I'm looking for. It gives me the option to see light coming through the foliage. Light coming through the foliage always gives you something extra. It's an interesting thing, this, isn't it? If you look at a beautiful image lit directly by the sun, there's always a little bit of bleaching going on. Always a little bit of bleach, because the sunlight takes the colour away. But if you look at it when it's backlit, in other words, look at the sunlight through it, you'll go, oh wow, look at that. That looks different. It's just a different way of looking at things. I was talking the other day, was it on here? Probably was, wasn't it? About looking at the sunset. And if you look to the east at sunset rather than the west, you'll see the eastern sky blushing. Somebody sent me a lovely photo of their eastern sky blushing. It was true, it did. Blushed. Thanks for that. This business of living as we are, where we can't go out, we can't leave the home, is quite challenging, isn't it? We were talking today about how tired we're getting. Because the first few days you think, oh right, okay, so what I'll do is I'll sort out this, that and the other. I must do this and I must get that done, and I can do it because I can't leave the home. And then you go, boy, I'm tired. I've worn myself out by doing all these tasks that we're going to have months to do. So there's no great hurry. Apologies, folks. You've just landed on the floor. I wish I could turn this the right way up. If I rotate the device, there you go. Right. Are we back on again? Yeah, we are. Right, dark green. I want a real dark green into here, into this yucca. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to build it up with dark and light green. And you'll see the underpainting, this burnt sienna underpainting coming through, which will highlight all the different bits I've got. When I was painting on the Camino de Santiago, I had the paint set up on the back of the bike. I might do that one day. I might bring the bike out and show you how I paint using the saddle as my easel. Once again, with these acrylic paints, you're not painting exactly every little bit of detail. You're painting in bits, and I'm relying on your eyes to do the other bits. Now there's an interesting thing going on down here, which is just in the flower bed in front of that painting are the daffodils in flower. So I'm using my palette knife, my Mallett's palette, to give me these highlights here. It's lovely doing it with a palette knife because the paint will dry and you'll have a lumpy bit of texture. Yes, that's what I wanted. That's nice. A couple over there too. Once again, you can't see them in the garden because of the framing of the image, but I can see them and I know they're there, so I'm going to paint them in. Yeah, it's coming along. Feeling good. Yellow, where's that yellow? That's it. I'll use this nice, slightly chromier yellow on my palette. Doesn't that look nice and gooey? Can you see it? Hey. Mix these together. Oh, lovely. French had a name for this. They used to call it painting en plein air. Plein air. I prefer the English phrase. I'm painting outside, mate. Now, once again, these colours are a little hard to tell the difference at a distance and with the sunlight so strong on in your eyes. But don't worry, I know it's going to work, and I'll show you the results in about 5 minutes. I'll show you where we're up to. This will give you a little idea of what I've done. Okay, I'm going to use this little red oxide in here. Oh, God, what have I missed? Oh, hang on, I've missed something really important. I've just seen it. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you say, when are you going to paint in the magnolia? Oh, God. There he is, staring right at me, and I haven't looked at it. Sorry, I was too busy talking. Clean that brush. Clean that brush. Okay, this is what I want now. Quinquedone Violet. What a lovely name. Quinquedone Violet. Mix it with pure titanium white. Titanium white. Titanium white and violet. Going to give me a really nice, rich pink, which will be fine. Now, if you're wondering why I'm not responding to messages on Facebook as you're kindly typing them in and making little comments as we go, that's because my image is upside down and I can't read them. So when this is all over, what I will do is I will read your comments and I'll reply. Does that seem fair? And if there was a way to do this better, so that the thing wasn't upside down, I would do it, but I don't know how to. I'm just relieved it actually broadcasts outside and it's picking up the Wi-Fi. Ah! Hint of cloud. What a difference. What a difference. Now you can see what I'm painting. Now you're going, oh, look at that. Oh, I can see it now. Whereas before you were going, I can't see it. The sun's too bright in my eyes. Yep. And I'll just tell you now, it's affecting the temperature. The temperature changes immediately. I guess this is because we're still in March, aren't we? You know, it's still springtime. So I share this magnolia with my next door neighbour. And every spring, over the wall, is lovely big pink magnolia comes through. Now I'll put a little bit of white into there to add a bit of body and definition to it. With some of the yellow, that's it, yeah. If I put some of that lovely tiny bit of Naples yellow with the white, it takes the edge off it and it doesn't make it quite so bright. I've seen this in other artists have done this through the years. If you want to have a white that isn't too bright, that isn't sparklingly bright, just add a hint of yellow and it takes it down a bit. So what we're getting here is the light and shade of that magnolia. There's a little bit here in some tree there. That's the light coming through. I'm using my fingers because I can. That shows the light and shade coming through the greenery in the distance, so that it's not just a flat bit of shade. I want it to have some variation. I'm adding detail which you probably can't see yet, but you will. Be patient, I'll show you in a couple of minutes. Almost there. Now that's the white. Where's it gone? There it is, raw umber. Right. I've done this before, having somebody sitting in with me when I'm painting, and it was family. It's always family. You know it's family when they say things like, "This is dull, it's like watching paint dry." Hold still. Breeze is dropping. I've been hearing the birds starting to make some nests today. There's been a little bit of that going on. The pigeons making a bit of a din. Right, I think that's given me sort of what I wanted. How does that work for you? For me, it's completely and utterly upside down, but hopefully it's the right way up for you. So there we go. It's about half an hour. That gives me just the basics of this image in my garden. And now it's almost time for lunch. So can I wish you a very happy day today, and enjoy whatever you're doing at home, and make sure you smile loads. And if you're bored and want something to read, can I make a little suggestion? Utterly brilliant. My Life's Journey tells the story of cycling and painting the Camino de Santiago, the ancient pilgrimage route across Europe, which I did 2 years ago, right now. In fact, 2 years ago today, I was cycling into my twin town of Saint-Benoît near Poitiers. And hello to my friends in France who are watching today. Nice to have your company. Thanks very much for joining me. And I had a couple of days rest with them and used that time to work on paintings in their house. Oh, this is what happens when you paint. You always get it on your fingers. I know how to wash my hands. 20 seconds, and then I'll be singing Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini. Great. This is Timmy Mallett saying thanks very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a pleasure to have your company, even if you have been upside down for me today. And I shall look at your little messages on here, and I shall respond. But we'll do this again on another occasion. Maybe I'll get the watercolours out. Maybe I'll do some more to those oil paintings I started the other day. But whatever you're doing, stay safe. Thanks for being in my life. Enjoy.